Hello, everyone. This is the best of football and a very special edition for the World Cup. I have with me my co-host, Ojekere Aikoje. Oje.
Thank you very much, Dudu. Always nice being here. World Cup is around the corner.
Exactly. And then, of course, somebody who is, he knows football as much as I do. And I had to tell him that, look, Jide, can't tell some people or everyone what you know about the game. Yeah. Jide, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Okay. The World Cup is in the air, and let me ask you, gentlemen, first, what are your expectations?
It's the biggest World Cup, 48 teams, 3 countries hosting. We used to have seen 2 hosts before, 3 hosting. It's more like the entire northern part of America is involved in this. So, in terms of geography, it's a lot expected from me. They've broken all the records, apart from the football on the pitch yet. Geography and all of that about the World Cup, numbers, timing. You can't move the way people moved in Qatar. You can't try that with this World Cup. So it's a different. It's different. It's a different one altogether.
Jide, you watched many World Cup competitions, I guess. And what is your take on this? I mean, let's look at it purely from the football angle first.
Well, I expect the quality of the football to be good. Unfortunately, from over time, we found that quality of football cannot be taken away from all the off-field issues that come up. But we still expect to have quality football in this World Cup. Yes, and whoever wins will have gone through hell to win this World Cup.
I think so too. Okay, gentlemen, we will take a break. When we come back, we will look at some local issues concerning Nigeria's absence from the World Cup. We'll be back. Best of football. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the best of football, and we are going to address the inconvenient truth. Oje, back-to-back, Nigeria is not in the World Cup. Some people say even a mighty nation like Italy isn't going to the World Cup for the 3rd time. But does that excuse being absent?
No. I mean, Italy has their own issues. That's for Italy. We're looking at our own situation. It's wrong it's a big minus to those in charge, to the players. The coaches, all those who played a role in it directly or indirectly. We were not ready in terms of all the factors putting together, from the frequent change in coaches. We tried several players, including players in Tanzania. I've never believed that was the right thing to do. So if we're looking at how we missed it, that's part of the conversation, get into it. And eventually we failed for players too. They couldn't rise up to the occasions in games against teams like Zimbabwe, Rwanda. Even after South Africa, we cried for South Africa to lose 3 points. They were deducted. Even at that,
we still didn't get there.
I mean, there was a window again after certain teams using I think it was Eritrea. So I can't remember which country. Eritrea, Transjide was Eritrea. That window came in. Teams like Congo DR, lost points. I mean, you look at the way Congo DR played Senegal at home. That was like a World Cup final on its own. And shamefully, DR Congo was almost going to fail to get to the World Cup. Well, there was a window again. And we met DR Congo. And we couldn't even do the job.
We still did not go through. Jide?
There's a lot to say, really. But the summary of it was that we really did not deserve to get to this World Cup. We had multiple opportunities, and somehow we threw everything away. In fact, you could say there was divine intervention for us. We still did not manage to get there. So in all honesty, we didn't deserve to be in this World Cup.
Well, Jide, we've seen the Super Eagles play lately. There's a bit more urgency. There's a bit more desire on the part of the players. I was one of those who didn't think that Eric Chelle was the answer to coaching needs, but he's showing something different. Do you agree that he's created competition in the team, and that's why there's some improvement. One of the reasons there's an improvement.
Yes and no. I think it's more man management because, in all honesty, I really don't see how much competition he has added. He has added a few players, but other coaches did the same. Coaches kept on bringing people from all over the place. He mentioned Tanzania. It didn't really make any sense at the time. So in terms of competition, there's always been competition. I think it's more how he relates with these people. I think he gives them more commitment, more confidence to want to perform. Because it's more or less the same players that went through the World Cup qualifiers. And they are playing so much better now. You almost can't recognize the team in 6 months. So it's not really, I think it's more man management than anything else.
Okay, to the fan, I mean, the games are coming up at 8 and 12 in the midnight. What, from the advertiser's perspective or the sponsor's perspective, do you think that they will have enough eyeballs, given the fact that we're not there?
That's why advertisers have to be more creative, this time around, because will everyone stay awake, vigils for the World Cup? I don't think so, because people have to go to work. So that's why I started with geography of the World Cup completely. This is a different, the geography has changed everything, time zone and all of that. But then, so it's for advertisers now to rethink their strategy. And for most of the sponsors of the World Cup and those who are even local sponsors, what they're thinking is even using the players now as their using the players as a marketing tool.
Their commercial messages.
Exactly, commercial messages. There are big names, there are personal brands that can be used. And you can use that 24/7, not just when they are playing. Knowing fully well that as far as, using our geographical location, you don't, somebody walks with you, comes in the morning and is, sleepy and told you I had to stay awake to watch the World Cup.
Yeah, okay, Jide works for a very big organization, and I know he knows what the position would have been if Nigeria had qualified. Any disappointments?
Yes, because of course over time we know that, particularly for those in the industry, this is the biggest time you have every 4 years. Maybe apart from the Olympics, but I'm not even sure the Olympics is as big as the World Cup for Nigerians, in all honesty. The disappointment is that we have lost a massive opportunity to improve our economy, improve a lot of things. Would have gained a lot from Nigeria being in this World Cup. And even companies that typically don't invest in sports would have struggled to at least attach themselves to one thing or the other. So yes, there's a disappointment that we didn't make this World Cup. We've lost a lot.
OJ, about 20 billion naira, in my opinion, in advertising spend, gone down the drain.
Yeah, that's true. Even much more. I was talking with a client yesterday, and I was told how from November last year they've been planning this, hoping that that window will open properly. And I was just told yesterday that you know what, all that money has gone back to where it came from because Nigeria is not at the World Cup. Okay,
we'll look at that again, or hope that this doesn't happen as we run the next 4 years of our football. But we'll be back after this time out. Best of football. Welcome back. Still talking football and World Cup and Nigeria. Gentlemen, in the past we noticed that, or it happened that some of our players benefited from our going to the World Cup. But nothing is happening this time. Jide?
Nothing can really happen this time because
we're not there.
We are not there. Like I said, the World Cup is huge, and the limelight you get from being in the World Cup, you can't get it anywhere else. In all honesty. So yeah, we have cup players playing in big competitions around the world, but I don't think anybody in the world really watches football as much as they watch the World Cup. The reach of the World Cup is bigger than every competition you can imagine. So if you are not there, you will definitely lose.
OJ, how do you see this from the perspective of Nigerian footballer?
Yeah, I'll use the example of JJ. After every World Cup, then JJ was always moving to a new club, improved salary, improved performance altogether. So because players like him reserve their energy for the World Cup, and just like Jide, Asante, the World Cup is the biggest, bigger than American sports. I mean, everybody will keep an eye on the World Cup, especially for players who will move to the next stage after the World Cup. And from a Nigerian point of view, perspective, I mean, players have lost that opportunity because that big move, even apart from Nigeria, the big move comes after the World Cup. I mean, that's the biggest transfer window. Next, everyone went to see who is the jewel that would, do so well at the World Cup. And so, from a Nigerian perspective, the players have lost all that opportunity.
You want to give us any example or examples of players who have moved?
JJ.
Yep.
I mean, after the World Cup in France '98, he moved. He gives his best at the World Cup, knowing fully well that once that is done, there's a window for a shopping window open, and he grabs that. So for these players, I don't understand. I don't know if they really see it from that perspective too.
Jide, you must have your angle to it.
Yes. So I think that they actually wanted to qualify. Maybe 60%. I don't think they fully really appreciated what it took to get to that World Cup, because if they really did, they'd have done a lot more. And without a doubt, they would lose out. So you talk about an Osimhen, for example. Ordinarily, if an Osimhen had been, say, in 2022 World Cup, I doubt if he'll be playing for Galatasaray right now. He probably would have gone to a much bigger club. Forget all the stories about behavior and all of that. If he had done well in that World Cup, he'd be in a much bigger club. And maybe by now, he'll be looking for another bigger club than where he is. So he will lose. Same for all the other players. So definitely the players will lose a lot.
Alex Iwobi will be a Centurion. And wouldn't that be special, very special, if he did it at the World Cup?
Oh, obviously. Now it's going to be a friendly game. Maybe if we're going for the World Cup, after the friendly game, then he adds more to it. And that even gives him the opportunity to get more caps before eventually takes a bow. For a player of his quality, again, it's a shame that he's not going to be at the World Cup. Players in England already, Premier League players are headed for the World Cup from different countries. He had a decent season for me, same with Bassi. But you had a decent season. You're not going to the World Cup. You're just going to be a spectator. It's not going. Again, we're talking about their personal brand. It's not going to help their personal brand, especially from their value.
Oh dear. Well, one feels sorry for them, but they're part of the poor architecture that's keeping us out of the World Cup. Okay, let's go straight to pre-tournament challenges that we're beginning to read about and hear about, and people talking about it. Beginning with the case of the Somalian referee. Is it that FIFA has lost control of its own property?
To a large extent, I would say yes. I am particularly interested to see how FIFA rebounds from this disaster that they've caused. Because the World Cup is not just what happens on the field. The World Cup is everything surrounding that event. And in many ways, this World Cup is almost destroyed even before the football starts.
Oh dear.
There's so much going on. It's such a shame. So you have an African ref from a very lowly country, a country who would probably never qualify for a World Cup. So he's an ambassador for his country, to the extent that the country gave him a diplomatic passport, so that he can represent them on the biggest stage of football, and then he gets barred from that competition. A lot has gone. I really don't know. Many people will watch this World Cup with mixed feelings. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes from there.
I saw a very uncomplimentary video on the Senegalese team and how they were subjected to very horrible such conditions.
Yeah, I thought that would be for fans, but for players to be again. You ask where's FIFA? What's FIFA saying in all of this? Jide just alluded to FIFA's the way FIFA is taking it right down. And I mean, I've read FIFA saying that it's not whatever the host countries will do. It's not, they have no control over that. But for FIFA, I mean, starting from the referee, who is even in FIFA's delegation. I mean, I read the BBC article, and where BBC wrote clearly there that appears that FIFA has lost control if one of their own cannot even get to be allowed in, and they're not seeing anything about it. So what will happen to players and even fans who are supposed to be there?
And if you look at the Senegalese team, half those players were born in Europe. So would the U.S. immigration system subject the French national team, and half of it is black, to the same treatment?
That's a very interesting conversation because when the videos of the Senegalese team being frisked and searched came out, a large number of people alluded that maybe it was because they were Africans and all of that. But I think it was yesterday, I think I saw visuals of even the Belgian team being frisked and searched as well. So it's just a mess, in all honesty. I really don't... It's a shame because over the last few years, the message for football has been football for all. This is clearly not a World Cup for all because it almost doesn't matter where you're coming from. Almost every continent has one problem or the other that they have to go through to be able to get to this World Cup. And it's such a shame.
The signals were there nearly a year ago. Did FIFA just shy away from, taking the hosting right from the US, considering the fact that there were two other countries?
Yeah, I think that's the situation. I mean, there's even a story about, I think it was Indonesia, when a particular country, they said they won't allow, and FIFA took the hosting right from Indonesia, and I think it was Argentina that hosted them. So that's the question everyone is asking now, and it appears that FIFA is just... waiting for kickoff and for the World Cup to end so that everybody goes home. I'll quickly forget about all of this.
So now we're talking about optics and politics. But where does that leave the game?
The game will lose, clearly. The game is already losing big time. It will be very interesting to now see what FIFA does, particularly when it relates to African countries with this mantra of no government intervention in football. It will be very interesting to see where they take this hope, because what FIFA doesn't realize is that they've opened doors for all kinds of rubbish to happen going forward, because this is clearly a government interfering in the game.
Exactly.
And previously it wasn't acceptable, but apparently now it is acceptable.
Okay, we'll take a break. When we come back, we will be looking at players who are likely to set the stage alight, and then, of course, countries to expect. Best of football. Welcome back. This is still the best of football, and you're onto the World Cup, very special edition. And on set with me, OJ, Aikoje, and Jide Ademo. Okay, guys, let's look at the playing personnel of as many countries as possible. Let's begin with the golden oldies. Somebody's coming to the World Cup at 41. We thought we'd seen the last of Jamila type at 40 and Dino's off. But now you have outfield players who are coming. And Jide?
Yeah, it's testament to how modern medicine and fitness and nutrition has grown. Because in the past, it was very rare to see players of these ages appearing at the World Cup. Yeah, you see them play for their clubs week in, week out. But playing at the World Cup at those ages is very remarkable. And they are not just playing at that age. They're actually superstars for their teams. Their teams actually have a lot of hope on them to help them deliver in this World Cup. So it's a very interesting time.
So Messi, Ronaldo, Modric, what are your expectations on those three gentlemen?
A lot. Magic. I mean, we've seen Ronaldo has waited for this. So like Masquerado has waited for the big stage to perform. And here he has that stage to perform. So I think a lot from Ronaldo. I mean, he's got a global image. Has got a global image. Add the Saudis to it. They've joined his fund. So a lot is expected from him. Will he play regularly? I doubt, but he's somebody who loves football. He doesn't like staying on the bench. He wants to play. So I think he has made himself ready to play, and I want to believe that he will play. I mean, Jide just talked about how modern medicine and co has helped, and you look at Ronaldo's style. He's a player that's also intentional. He's intentional about what he takes in. Remember that advert, that post-match conference. Then, he's conscious of what he takes in, and that is a message to younger players to understand how to, keep themselves in the game. He's still going to spend a lot more years playing in the Saudi league, clearly, and again, his presence there has taken all of us to that direction. I was there sometime in 2006. That same club, Al Nassr. A Ghanaian player who played in Nigeria then, if you remember, Jotes Frimpong, played for Ayimba. He's had a 3-month contract. We went to that club together. So when I see what Ronaldo is doing now, I look at that time and now and the Saudi football system, and the country as a whole, how much they've opened up the country because of one man, because of football. And from football, they've added boxing, they've added, motor race to all of that. Tennis and all of that. So it tells you how they realized the power of, after missing the World Cup, after Qatar hosted the World Cup, they realized that, look, we need to do much more. And that's what they've done with football, courtesy of Ronaldo. And look at the names that have come in after Ronaldo. Guys who are even active in Europe want to leave just because of the system. Ronaldo is one player, certainly, and he's shown younger players the secrets, how to get better.
OJ alluded to the fact that Ronaldo may not like to be on the bench, but even on the bench, looks like the 12th player of his team.
Yes, it always seems like Portugal has 2 head coaches every time they play because he practically never sits down. And it's interesting to note the amount of respect he gets because typically for a player to stand that close to the touchline giving instructions, most coaches wouldn't take it. But Portuguese coaches they just ignore him and let him do whatever he wants to do. It shows you the stature he has in that team. And OJ alluded to the fact that he might not play regularly. Yeah, I think in all honesty, if Portugal really wants to go very far in this competition, he probably should not play very regularly. But he will come in at critical times and he will definitely add a lot of value to them. Now that's Ronaldo. For Messi is an extremely integral part of the Argentine team. He can't even be benched, as it says. Everything that happens in that team revolves around him. So you get the sense that if a Messi does well in this World Cup, Argentina will do well because everything runs through him in that team. Does he? Yes, he's slightly younger than Ronaldo is, but you would never know. And that shows you how much football intelligence he has. As he has got older, he has dropped further back. Because now he ensures he doesn't have to run that much. And then he controls the game from a bit slightly deeper position, but his impact has not waned.
Okay, Modric?
Look at Modric. Again, look at the Croatian team over the years. His impact there, just same with like Ronaldo and Messi. Again, look at Milan. Does he play regularly? Shows that age too is so he won't play the kind of role that Messi will play for Argentina. But then his impact, he won't be on the bench like Ronaldo. He's a reserved person. I mean, he won't stand where the coach is. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, Modric is reserved, but of course, his influence too will come in. Maybe when he starts, makes an impact. When he comes in, of course, will be more dangerous then. Okay,
they are new stars on parade. But before we get to there, where do we put Harry Kane?
Well, off camera, we said in the middle. In the middle of the two.
Is this Harry Kane's last hooray?
I don't think so. The way Harry Kane plays, he's very similar to a Messi and a Ronaldo in that he's not a gongo kind of player. You don't see him running all over the place. He's never had pace, but he's always managed. He uses more of his footballing intelligence than physical strength and speed and all of that. So for players like that, they tend to last longer in the game than those who run all over the place. The most you will probably see from Harry Kane is that as he gets older, he might drop into an 8 instead of being a 9. And then it will keep him longer in the game. I suspect he'll be back for another 4 years.
Okay, now let's talk about, before we go to the wider field of the big boys, let's look at the teenage sensations we expect. Predictably.
Oh, Yamal, the Barcelona kid from Spain. We saw him at the Euros, so certainly he's going to be a big factor for Spain. He wants to do well. It's his first World Cup. He will give it, everything it deserves. And I believe that he's certainly one guy that will stand out at the end of, whether Spain wins, or not, he'll stand out at the end of the World Cup.
Who are your other standouts?
So there are quite a few. There is Adagula for me. He's a fantastic footballer. Spain has, there's Yamal, but they have quite a few. They have Kubasi, they have Pedri, they have quite a few people that you look out for. But I particularly want to see what there's Kobe Mainu as well. There are quite a few young guns that you think might take control of this competition. I would like to see what happens with those people, but of course, clearly, Yamal is heads and shoulders ahead of all of these people. And then there's France. France has quite a few young guns too that might just be. This might just be their fight. They've broken out in the clubs, but like we've said earlier, the World Cup is the World Cup. So anybody who really shows themselves in this World Cup will become a genuine global superstar.
You don't see them freezing because, the French team and the Spanish team, they're quite, they have young stars, and they're likely to freeze.
No, I don't see a situation like that because they're already playing for the national team. At their clubs, there are players who play key role, for their teams, and they've waited for this stage. It's like waiting for the biggest platform to perform, and I don't see them freezing at all. They'll young players will see their impact. They will do much more at this World Cup.
Okay. What about some of these players, not quite in the Hurricane group, not really in the teenage group? Who are we expecting to set the stage alight? What names are likely to set the stage alight?
Okay, if we look at...
let's come to Africa, the African teams.
Okay, the African teams. Hakim from Morocco, for example. With all the drama at the last AFCON, they've got a new coach too. And I'm sure they want to... He's one player. He's won the Champions League too with his club PSG. Played a key role in that setup. He's one player too that I think will... from an African point of view, we've got 10 going. At the end of the day, maybe half of them will just be swept away.
Mane and the Senegalese crew.
Yeah, Senegal has a mix of... maybe we won't call them old. Maybe in the Hurricane category, and then very young ones. There's an Mbaye from PSG. There's Mane. They have quite a few young people and quite a few older people. But Senegal primarily relies on the older generation of footballers that they have. The young ones are not at the level where you can trust that kind of pressure on them and expect them to deliver. But the older ones are still of significant quality. Mane plays in Saudi Arabia, but you would never know. If you watch Mane in Saudi, the way Senegal plays, still the center of everything that they do in that team. So it really doesn't matter where he plays. His quality always shines through all the time.
And then from Egypt. Brazil, I haven't seen any outstanding players. Brazil, nothing particularly special.
Yeah, but one guy is still disturbing everybody, Neymar.
I hope they won't take him to the World Cup.
He's going to the World Cup
because the man is struggling.
It's interesting. The Neymar story is very strange because he's currently injured. Many fans around the world, including Brazilians, have no idea why he's going to that World Cup. But he's been chosen, and they've insisted that he will not be removed for any reason. In fact, previously the information was that he probably would miss the first 2 games. But I think it was yesterday it came out that he might just make the opening game against Morocco. Now, the question is, how much does Neymar still have to contribute to that Brazilian? It's a very interesting... It will be interesting to see, because the best players in that Brazilian team now are much younger than he is. There's a Rafinha. There was Wesley before he got injured, But there are quite there's Hendrick, who plays for Olympique Lyon. There are quite a few younger players who you would expect to be the stars for that team. Definitely not in Neymar.
Okay, we will take a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at the countries, the standout countries. Best of football. Still on the players to look out for at the World Cup. Mbappe, Vinicius, Junior, and go. Oji.
I'll start with Mbappe. Again, from a Real Madrid point of view, I'm sure he'll be disappointed with the season. I mean, nothing to win. One of the few seasons that Madrid will, just finish winning nothing, and he wanted to move to Madrid. No Champions League, yet no La Liga this time around. So it means domestically he'll be disappointed with himself and be looking forward to the World Cup. So the World Cup, really, I hope he gets it right. Again, the player power I talked about earlier with advertisers. Maybe here we haven't really understood that when the players, when Macron visited the players at the French president at Clairefontaine, where they trained, they had this photo session, and Mbappe was like by the side of Macron, but Macron pulled him, and understanding the player power, brought Mbappe in front of him, and so the picture had Mbappe in front, clearly perhaps telling him, well, depending on you do the job for us. Some felt Dembele, the reigning boy, should have been the one there. But if you go back to the drama before Mbappe left for Madrid, Macron had to speak with him to say, look, stay with PSG. Don't forget that he was a poster boy of Ligue 1. So it comes to personal, when it comes to leagues too, the Nigerian league, maybe some of the teams for it, those running, they need to also learn. Mbappe had to be begged to stay in Ligue 1 because the belief was that once he leaves, Ligue 1 is gone. So, but they had to keep him there. Even the former president before Macron also spoke with Mbappe, so he stayed. But when it was at some point, he had to leave for Madrid. So it's a national team. Respect that he would take this as a personal project, having not done well. That's one thing with players. When they've also realized that from a domestic point of view, they didn't have a good season, they want to go to the World Cup and give their all.
Dembele, it's had an amazing 2 seasons.
Yes.
And a possible back-to-back Ballon d'Or if France gets
yes,
semi-final.
There's a very good chance. This morning I saw the Ballon d'Or power rankings. It's slightly behind Harry Kane, which I thought was strange. But the fact that he's that close to the top suggests that if he has a good World Cup, he's probably very likely to get that Ballon d'Or a second straight year. Which reminds me to your earlier question about whether young players can freeze. I remember Mbappe's first World Cup was in 2018 in Russia. And as young as he was one of the stars of the competition. So what it tells you is if you are good enough and you have the levels of confidence which a Yamal has, for example, he almost never freezes in any situation. Sometimes, in fact, he thinks this seems to joke a little too much, doesn't seem to take things too seriously. But if you are that good, you'll stand out wherever it is you go.
Chelsea let N'Golo Kante go many seasons ago, and he's going to the World Cup.
Yeah, that's what baffles me. And I was speaking with somebody, and the person said, Golo remains very, very important, not just in Fenerbahce, even to the French team, and that's why he's making the World Cup. Again, give it to N'Golo. I guess he left Saudi for a purpose, and this is the purpose.
Yeah, a friend of mine once told me, by the way, he's an Arsenal fan. He said he's sure N'Golo Kante has a twin brother. Chelsea plays in one half, and then bring the other one in the second half. And how can a man cover all the blades of the grass and still...
You can only have one N'Golo Kante in a generation, in all honesty. He's not the most technical footballer you will find, not the most flair type footballer you find, but he has a ridiculous engine. I don't know how he does it. Even in Saudi Arabia, when he was there, everybody was saying the Saudi league was slow, but he seemed to be faster than the league because he was running all over the place. He was in everything he was doing in Europe, he was doing there. So he's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of player, and he shows that his quality is eternal. He's not going to go anywhere. Because I remember the first time I saw him back in the French team was late last year. I was a bit shocked because for some of the time he was in Saudi Arabia, he wasn't in the French national team. So the fact that they brought him back tells you that they found that he has something that the current generation do not have. So he's definitely a key player for that team. He still does everything he has been doing over the last 10, 15 years.
Interesting. The Englishman at Real Madrid,
Bellingham.
Yeah, I think he's a slightly overrated player.
Sometimes, if you look at English players who leave and go to that direction, whether it's Barcelona or Madrid, sometimes they don't get it right. That's why I'm scared for the young man who's gone to Barcelona now from Newcastle. Godwin. I hope it all goes well. He hasn't. It's shaky. Even his stay at Madrid is also shaky because he's not had a decent time over there. Now a new coach is coming. New sheriff is coming. Will the new coach want to keep him? Time will tell.
Well, Mourinho has an appetite or a desire for black players. Maybe that can help him.
Yes, he seems to have an appetite for black players, but you also have to put in the work. So for Mourinho, if you are not putting in the work, he doesn't see you as someone who's ready to sacrifice for the team. It really doesn't matter how much quality you have, you will not play. So truthfully, I fear for a Bellingham. He's not the hardest worker you'll find in any team. And in fact, in all honesty, I don't think he'll play very much if Mourinho takes over that Real Madrid team. He has a lot of quality going forward, but you have to do both sides of the game if you are going to play in Mourinho.
If you want to play in Mourinho's team, you have to be ready to do both sides.
You remember what Eto'o did when he used Eto'o, when he was at Inter? Can Bellingham play that way?
It's going to be tough because, in a very critical game in the Champions League semi-finals, he played Eto'o at fullback. Honestly, I thought, well, only Mourinho can do anything like that. Let's go back to the French team. Some of those youngsters who seem to have played well for PSG, would they have commanding roles in the French team?
The coach believes in them, obviously, and the French team is, the PSG team won the Champions League. We saw how they performed in most of the games they played. And Didier, I guess it's his last for the French national team too. He's also leaving. And so he's taking players that he believes will do the job for him. Again, you look at the PSG players, I think every player who has been picked from that club plays good football.
Yes, so France are one of my favorites for this competition because they have a very good balance in the team. Thankfully, all the drama surrounding Mbappe in Real Madrid does not extend to the French team. So you'd like to think that they would do well. Particularly because a core of their team comes from PSG. They have a very strong PSG contingent, and they play regularly in PSG, and they have very, very good quality. So yes, you would like to think that France will do very well. They have a good goalkeeper, good defenders. I think they are probably top 3 for me to win the World Cup.
Okay, we'll come back and talk about the countries we think they are going to get very near the podium. But I want to look at the German team. I haven't seen very good football come from the German team, and so not many of the stars are available on parade.
Yes, so Germany lost their way. They've lost their way over the last 5, 6, 7 years. They were very close to going the Italian way of not qualifying for World Cups as well. But they've managed to pull themselves back. I'm reminded everybody that they are still a powerhouse in Europe. When we were speaking about young stars that might shine in this World Cup, there was one particular person that just came to my mind. Unfortunately, he's out of the World Cup because he's injured. Lennart Karl from Bayern. That's the future superstar. Extremely good footballer. But then he got injured. So Germany is back to producing young players that in a few years you will see the impact and quality they have. But they found their way back. They are still not as good as some of the top-end European teams, but they are not that far behind.
One man I can't stop thinking about, talking about, Kai Havertz of Arsenal. My favorite player in Chelsea and a big game player. But in the Premiership, he doesn't quite return that consistency. But you don't become a German international at 19 if you're not such a great talent. What should we be expecting from Kai at the World Cup?
He's you look at his contribution in the Premier League. They may have lost the Champions League, but then also did a decent job. That game against, I think it was a German, I can't remember which German team he scored against. He had to do his job. I mean, as a footballer, but of course, I think that he joined from Leverkusen.
Yes,
he joined from Leverkusen. Had to do the job, but it shows his past emotions too. Scoring against his former team and eliminating a German team. So he's one player too that I believe will do so well. He's tactically he's good, he's skillful, and the World Cup again is just a platform for every good player to go and showcase what they have.
I can't help going back to the English national team because one of my favorite players, Michael Olise, incidentally his father is my friend, Vincent Olise. His father, Vincent, played cricket for Nigeria for 10 years. Yeah, he used to be an opening batsman and a medium pace bowler with the national team. I tried to talk to him about 5 years ago. He just said, Dudu, these children, now waiting they want to. So he had a world-class performance, first leg Bayern PSG, but in the second leg he was kind of quiet. Do you see that happening to him at the World Cup?
No, it's the World Cup is different now. It's his national team. I mean, club side there'll be some deficiencies, but I think at the national team level they've got players that play at that optimum level. So I think the World Cup will be a good platform for him. The German team is good for him. Of course, Nigerians everyday pain that certain players are not. But there are some that that they won't play for Nigeria. Especially when you look at the circumstances. They're closer to those countries, and you just know that this won't work. So for a player like, I knew he wasn't going to play for Nigeria. You can't blame his dad. It's like he said, the guy don't go where he won't go.
It looks like we go for our players very late. We go for them very late because
yes,
I know how much effort I put into talking to Gabriel Agbonlahor and John Salako, and it was like, okay, Dudu, thanks for talking with me, but the NFA is not talking. The NFF.
Yes, unfortunately, we have administrative issues. We've always had them. There's not much we can say about that has not already been said. We just need to, which is one of the good things that you can say and Eric Chell has brought to the current Super Eagles team. Not that we never had people scout for these people, but it seems to almost have the magic wand of getting them to want to commit to playing for the team. Compare us to a Morocco. For example, Morocco has a dedicated team that scores Europe for players with Moroccan heritage. So even though they have a very strong league, they still spend quite a lot of time and money looking for those superstars that might just be coming from outside. But because they have a structure in place, they start early. So they don't start when the player is already known and then they are now dragging with the country where he has already chosen to play with. You almost would never win. And Iwobi is just an outlier in that sense that he chose to play for us because he could easily have played for England after a while. Maybe some people will argue maybe he did not have the requisite level of quality. But who says he would not have played for England?
Well, Iwobi's own was a bit different because when he was 11, I met the father at Victoria Station and then he said, "Hey, Dudu, my son is in Arsenal now." So I said, Mihala, well, we call him Mehala Iwobi Senior, is a lawyer. I met him during the 1982 Nuga Games. He was a very good right winger for UNN, where he studied.
Played for Vasco da Gama.
Then he played for Vasco da Gama. So sometimes when I read somewhere that Alex Iwobi is good because he's Okocha's nephew, no. Okocha's sister is his mother. He got his talent from his father, Chuka Iwobi, and we call him Mehala because he gives people wahala when he plays, So, and I said to him, Chuka, look, if he makes the grade, give me a commitment that's going to play for Nigeria. He said, Dudu, you can trust me. He is going to play for Nigeria. So from the age of 10, 11, Alex Iwobi knew he didn't have a choice about playing for Nigeria. But we can do better than that.
Yeah, I'll give another example. 2019, Noah Okafor. Everyone's talking about Noah Okafor at Leeds now. I spoke with Noah Okafor's dad, a Nigerian. Got to know Noah through Stephen Ode, the former MFM player who left for Zurich. He came on our program once, and I asked him, which player have you played against in Switzerland when he went to Zurich? And he said, Noah Okafor. I said, okay, give me his number. He gave me Noah's number. I reached out to Noah. I asked for that number. He gave me his dad number. Nice guy. And I spoke with his dad. Fine Nigerian guy, Igbo guy, but grew up in Benin. He speaks Benin very well. Probably better than you and I. He grew up in Benin, and he told me, they grew up in Benin. Started from Auchi, then they moved to Benin. His dad's house is in Benin, and told me, my son go play for Nigeria now. That was 2018. 2019, the under-20 championship in Poland. Paula Bogun was coach then. Igor Ogbu was in that team. Igor that is in here now in the Super Eagles. So I tried to make that work for. Then Noah was playing for Switzerland. He was still playing in Switzerland for Basel, FC Basel. And for some reasons, Nigeria wasn't serious because this was a dad who wanted his son to play for Nigeria. He told me when they went, when he was with the youth team, they went to Denmark, the club Friday Lau and Uche played for, Brøndby, thank you. Then when they got to the stadium, he saw where, after they won the league for the first time in a long time, their names were inscribed, on somewhere at the stadium. And he told me, do everything you can to let me speak with Elau. I got him one day to speak with Elau. I was excited, but we weren't serious with that. Noah is with Leeds United now.
And he's going to the World Cup with Switzerland.
You can say that again. I have somebody, a doctor in the US, spoke to me. Somebody mentioned my name and gave me my phone number. And the man paid for his son, Bolu, to come for the... He was 16 and well-built, and he played, good football. And he came to Nigeria on the 17th. Luka Ogbade was coach. NFA said they would not pay for MRI. The father said he will pay. They said, no, they don't want foreign players in under 17. Now, if he starts playing for the US, you start complaining that he used to play for... The man bought tickets and got the uncle to stay with Bolu in Abuja. He stayed in the hotel. Bolu was in the team, in camp, played some games. Tomorrow, they say the boy refused to play for Nigeria.
It's administrative. Unfortunately, we need to have a structure that allows these things to happen seamlessly. And then, because what we've had over the years is we have individuals like you, like OJ, who put in their personal effort to is not sustainable. That's the truth. Because what these young kids then see is that, okay, so if I'm going to play for Nigeria because one uncle somewhere asks me to, what happens when I get there and they now throw me somewhere? They want to see that there's a system that actually welcomes them into the team, and it becomes seamless. So until Nigeria gets to that point where we have a structure dedicated to doing these things the right way, we will always struggle.
I think the National Sports Commission has done that now. There's a diaspora commission in the UK. Not just football now. They're taking other sports too into cognizance. So they're going to have like a camp, a tournament to get. So there's headed by Adela Kon, who was with Raw. We're getting Raw's backroom
yes.
staff. So I think the NSC is taking that very seriously now with this commission based in the UK and working with members in Europe and the US to get this work. So it's looking better now. So we might not be losing such players anymore.
Interesting development. Kudos to the NSC leadership, and we hope that we'll be able to get more from them. We'll take a last break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the countries we hope will set the World Cup alight. Best of football. Welcome back. We are in the last segment of the program, and just to let you know, this is the maiden edition, the debut edition of the Best of Football after many years in hiatus. But trust me, my team and I, my co-presenters, will be giving you the very best of football and from everywhere in the world. So enjoy this edition as we round up. OJ, who are your picks in terms of country rating for the World Cup title?
From an African point of view, I just was looking at all the African teams, but let me leave that now and stay with France and Spain. France and Spain.
So I would say Argentina first. I have more than two, actually. So I'd say Argentina, I'd say Brazil, even though I don't really believe it. But let's say Argentina, Brazil, and Croatia. Now, I have a soft spot for Croatia because they are not the strongest team technically or skill-wise. But over the last 2-3 World Cups, they have always got to the semi-final. So it seems like they have something to do with the World Cup, and they just might shock everybody this year.
OJ, Spain, France. Spain-France World Cup final would be something.
Yeah, sure. Spain, France. I saw Spain and Iraq, but I thought, okay, that's a friendly game. Kick about. But credit to Iraq anyway. But Spain, France final, certainly. But getting to that stage, really, with all the landmines, like Argentina, Croatia, he has mentioned, Brazil was certainly very difficult. No one is talking about the trophy coming home.
No one is, okay. Well, I guess we'll begin to see who will lay his hands on the trophy by the time we get past the group stages.
Yeah.
Well, we've come to the end of the program today from OJ.
Expect more from the best of football.
And Jide?
Yes, so the best of football is back, and you definitely get the best of football going forward.
And I'll tell you what, somebody very special, a lady, will be joining us the next edition of the program. This is where we end this week's edition of the Best of Football.